Starting with Arsenal then, Myles. What was the story of this game? Because 6-0 didn't flatter West Ham, didn't flatter Arsenal rather, did it? But West Ham were just a shambles.
It shows a really good mentality from Arsenal that we're not really used to seeing. But the fact that they came off the back of that win against Liverpool and also watched Liverpool and Man City win the day before, the pressure's up on them on the Sunday to try and keep up in the title race. And to win away from home 6-0 is a pretty good way of doing that, particularly when you consider, I think, were they 6 goals behind Man City on goal difference going into this game as well.
True.
So they've done exactly what they needed to do. And it was good to see that clinical side of Arsenal again, because we've been saying for a long time that we're worried about where the goals are going to come from, and they distribute them across the pitch. They've been really effective from set pieces, which you don't necessarily expect to get a lot of joy from against West Ham with David Moyes there. So it was an excellent win for Arsenal. It's one that they'll really want to capitalise on and keep that title charge going.
Let's just focus on how Arsenal actually sees that game, because it was over by maybe 2-0. I think you could sense that they're just down tools mentally, West Ham. But Saka down the right felt like it was the way Arsenal really wanted to penetrate this West Ham defence. And I say penetrate. I use that term loosely because it didn't take much to get through them, did it? It was a clinical performance from Arsenal, and one which kind of the whole midfield forwards kind of played a part in as well, which is great to see for an attacking team.
Yeah, I think the way they started the game was, they started on the front foot as they do most games now. But I think in terms of the quality of the chances they actually created in this game was the way they're playing at the minute. I think in terms of finishing these opportunities off, which, like you mentioned, was a big criticism that we had of them. But I thought Saka and I think Trossard, Martinelli, them three, they just couldn't cope with them, their movement. And again, we've seen how big a part set pieces have played for Arsenal. Is that 12 now? I thought they were leading the way with 10 at the start of the day. And that's another tale. Like Gabriel and Saliba are absolute monsters aerially and a massive threat for any team. But I was just surprised about how easily West Ham just allowed them that space in the box. They didn't really have to do much to dominate in the air. It was fairly simple for them, but Arsenal took full advantage of that. And we've seen a couple of games this season where they've struggled in games and they've actually made the breakthrough through a set piece. It's become a different part of their armoury now. It's something we've not been used to actually over probably the last decade. Arsenal haven't really been well known for obviously scoring from set pieces. If anything, it's been in their own box and conceding goals. So that's a massive breath of fresh air for Arsenal fans, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think Myles was right about Trossard as well. It was great to see him play so well, and I think he was one of a few players who really stepped up in this game and was ruthless in dispatching West Ham. And I think Declan Rice as well, with his kind of sorry not sorry celebration to scoring an absolutely brilliant goal. It's kind of like rubbing salt in the wounds, really, Myles, wasn't it, for West Ham? But I thought Rice was brilliant. Anyone else stand out for you amongst a team performance, really, that was quite good?
I think Trossard is the one, and actually he's fulfilling a really good role in that squad. It kind of reminds me of Diogo Jota at Liverpool, where you're not quite sure whether he's ever going to be the star man, and he'll kind of fit into whatever attacking role you need him to when one of the traditional starters is out. And Trossard's found that really good position in the Arsenal squad where, he's got 50 appearances for him now. So Arteta clearly has a lot of trust in him, and he contributes in really important moments. I thought he was excellent again, and obviously he had a good impact against Liverpool the week before. So that's the kind of depth that Arsenal need to try and carry them over the line. They can't always rely on Saka and Martinelli, as they've kind of found out this season. So having that depth is massive. And you're right, Declan Rice, it's a dream return to West Ham, wasn't it? 2 assists and a goal, and he took his goal fantastic. I mean, he was given all the space in the world. The fact that 2 Arsenal players missed the ball before it got to Rice and he still wasn't closed down, it was a bit favourable for him, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I'll stay on you, Myles, actually, for the kind of final conversation on Arsenal, really. And the 6-0 win kind of, again, closes that goal difference gap massively. It creates daylight between themselves and Spurs as well. I think it's a 5-point cushion now between 3rd and 4th. But more importantly, keeps a 2-point gap between them and Liverpool at the top. How are you seeing the title race right now? That's 4 wins in a row for Arsenal too, which I think psychologically is a big deal. So Is momentum on their side, do you think?
I don't think I'd go as far as saying it's on their side, because all of those teams seem to have some momentum. Obviously, Liverpool dropping points against Arsenal last weekend maybe dampen them a little bit. But when City are coming through as strong as they are, the good thing for Arsenal is they are keeping up with that. They've not let themselves fall behind. And that's really impressive. How is the title race looking? Quite open. I think it's really easy to just assume that Man City, because they've just been this juggernaut in the past that goes through and blows through the second half of the season, it's really easy to assume that they'll do that again, and they're showing signs of it to a degree. But while Arsenal are keeping pace with them, then the title race is open. It's whether they can keep that consistency all the way to the end of the season. At the moment, it looks like maybe they will. I'm excited by it.